group O. So in a way, a lot of Africans, if blood groups is protective, then blood group O, which occurs in 67% of Africans, is somehow protective. And the reason why A have antibodies to B, and those with blood group B have antibodies to A. So it inherently provides some immunity for those with blood group O, which have 36, or just type in blood for blood donation, but they may have a secondary purpose in terms of predisposition to infection. That is why this study is important. How it relates to those with underlying illness might require another study that is evaluating blood groups and at the same time evaluating their risk to all these predisposing conditions.
So for those who may be listening to you, Doc, who have the blood group O and may be jumping in their seats, are they justified?
No, rather the blood group O should be happy because they are the ones who have less risk of developing severe infection, because they have more antibodies. They are the ones who have antibodies to A and B, and they are the ones that in the study, they were found to have a less risk of acquiring or developing severe disease. Unfortunately, in all of Africa, blood group O is the most common, making up 67% of our blood type.
Right. So what does that mean for those who do not have blood group O?
It just means that in future, when they're doing studies, or if there's a way of, let's put it this way. People developed this COVID-19, and in the past, there was no way of determining who is going to develop severe disease. Even our guidelines, like before we came up with the discharge criteria, at day 7, you don't know who is going to get ill and who is going to go around and play soccer because there's nothing wrong with them. Right. But as more and more of these studies become available, it might even be possible to test the blood group and use that as a marker to determine whether somebody should be kept in the hospital because they have a high risk of getting severe disease, or they have a low risk. And currently, our guidelines will not even make that necessary, because both in Ghana, China, and almost every part of the world, what they notice is that people come to the hospital usually on the 8th of their illness after symptom onset. So those who would develop severe disease, they may come with their shortness of breath and stuff already. And already our discharge criteria says you have to be 14 days after symptom onset. So it is unlikely that on a policy basis, we may end up using the blood groups, but at least suddenly it gives us a window into, this may explain why some people are getting severe disease and some people seem to be completely unfazed by the illness.
However, in face of this report, what would be your word of advice or caution to all of us, regardless of blood group?
I think that we should all continue. The most important thing is the social distancing measures, and be careful with your daily activities, because at least within the last 24 hours, I understand we've reported another 400 cases. It means that community transmission is still ongoing. Even if you think that you are not at risk, you could carry it home to your 80-year-old mother or your child or someone else who has a predisposing condition. In addition, a lot of Ghanaians have blood pressure that they don't have any idea about. So I think a lot of Ghanaians are at risk already. So we should keep up with our masks, good hand washing, and the most important is the social distancing, because the virus moves with people, and if you don't get into people's faces all the time, you are less likely to infection.
Right. Should this be a good time to probably go for a medical checkup and know your hypertensive status or your diabetes status? Would this be a good time to do those inquiries, or we should rather just stay safe and stay at home?
This is a perfect time to do that, because if
in the northern hemisphere don't have that kind of blood group. So this is how interesting some of the things God does, and we don't understand. How can we here have such a group and have the antibodies required to be able to resist? Perhaps it could be one of the reasons why we have not been hit hard.
So our little blessings, huh? We should count our little blessings.
Exactly.
For those of you who are trying to call in, we cannot pick calls, but we will read out your messages. This one says, God bless you for the great work you're doing for Mother Ghana. It is laughable and hilarious to hear. Okay, if you go political, we can't read your message. This one says, we are most grateful for your support. May Allah bless and protect you. Thank you very much. This says, I'm a final year student of Abo Senior High School at the Volta region. The main reason is that I'm a day student and I'm taking care of myself, and I rented a house and I pay for it. Now that they are asking us to be in the boarding school, it's going to worry us. So please try and do your best to do something about it for us. That's an interesting one. This one says, I think the government should do a second lockdown again, from George Akaho in Tema. And this one says, Ghanaians should be very careful with the mass recovery. We shouldn't forget reducing the spread of the pandemic. Fosti from Takwa. So Fosti, they didn't oppose it. At the time, they did not think that it was essential to fighting the virus. This is novel, and they're still trying to find out how to deal with it. This one says, hi, those affected with the virus are now healed. Will they be infected again? I hear Italian doctors are saying it's a bacteria and not a virus. How true is it? Why can't the Ministry of Health give us a list of foods that will boost our immune system? Why can't they give us a list of drugs or medicine that will boost our immune system? From Kwabna Sedu Echebwa in Accra, New Asofani Fanko Barrier. These are all the issues that are coming up. Edward, your concluding remarks as we wrap up on today's conversation.
Yes, my concluding remarks is that COVID-19 has shaken every sector of our economy. And at the moment, we're seeing that the telecom industry is doing very well. But I think it's still expensive to be on that platform. None of us can do. We're all going to virtual, we're going to everything. The data. So something needs to be done about it. It needs to, because in business, the more people come on board, the more your price will come down. You need to sit down, the chamber in particular, with the operators there, and see how they can work on things and make things easier.
So data should go down.
Exactly, I think so.
Okay, thank you very much, Edward Nyako, for joining in the conversation. Edward Nyako is head of business news desk here at GBC News and also a journalist here, and he's also a preacher. You'll give us a word another time, I'm sure. Thank you to all of you who sent in your messages via WhatsApp and who hooked up with us online. We want to say a very big thank you to Technology. Also John Samatha, who joined us from the Bono region, and of course Dr. Betha Sewa Ayi, our infectious diseases specialist, who joined us on Clinical Time to give us some clarification. I'm Selike Makola Chapalu. Have a good afternoon.